This is Weirdly Enough, your regular podcast for strange stories and amazing facts, delivered straight to your favorite podcast directory and at weirdlyenough.com. Now, here are your hosts, Andy and Len.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us again. I'm Andy Kane, and I'm joined with
Len Johnson.
Hello, Len. How are you? Have you had a good week?
Never better, yeah. Can we talk about the coronavirus? Can we mention it? It's quite topical.
I suppose, yeah. Well, I think we have to. Yeah, we're there now. We're
given the impending collapse of civilization, I've been making sure we have adequate supplies in the pod bunker.
The pod bunker.
So we've got loads of Monster Munching.
Yeah.
DVDs.
You're the reason there's no toilet rolls in Aldi.
Yeah, I just went down to Aldi and just emptied it, basically.
Yeah.
Every Aldi in the province.
The province, yes, we live in a province. So I'm just watching the levels here. Yes! Well, we're back for another week. One really interesting thing beyond the coronavirus that hit me from the news this week is, well, first of all, do you know the planet Saturn, right? Do you know how many moons Saturn has? There's a trivia question for you.
There's like 2 moons?
It has 82.
Really?
82 actual moons. But the main ones are, I don't know if I can pronounce these right. You always hear of Titan. Enceladus, Mimas, Titus, Dione, and Laptalus. I'm sure I didn't say those right, and people will be commenting. But anyway, did you know that our own planet, the planet Earth, where we're sitting on right now, spinning around at whatever speed, has a new moon?
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, this is 2 astronauts from a NASA-funded Catalina Sky Survey in Arizona, Kasper Wierzow and Teddy Prun. Discovered the new moon on the 15th of February, so about 2 weeks ago. It's about the size of a car, between 6 and 11 feet in diameter. So it can't be seen by the naked eye, but there's plenty of photos and videos of the object on the net. Unlike the great names of Saturn's moons, though, this one's called 2020 CD3.
So we've got a new celestial body then?
Yeah, it's not a very exciting name, though. I think we should come up with a name for it here.
How about the Necromonicon?
Sounds good.
David Icke thinks the moon's actually a spaceship.
Made of cheese. Oh, a spaceship.
Yep.
Yeah. That brought coronavirus, I'm sure.
Well, he says it transmits signals into the, to kind of control your mind and stuff.
Hair or your aerials.
Yeah, hair or... You see, that's why I shave my hair, you see.
Yeah.
It's because I don't want my brain being interrupted by the signals from the cosmos.
Well, Grigory Fedorets, who's a research fellow in Belfast at Queen's University, says the object is likely to escape Earth's gravity next month. Or Earth's gravitational pull, rather, next month. It isn't in a stable orbit, so it's not going to hang around this little moon of ours.
So we're gonna lose it.
Yeah, it's going to float away off again. Yeah.
So what you're saying is, if that goes, we'll only have the one moon.
Back to single moon.
Yeah.
This did happen before, and it's happened. Well, the last time it was known to happen anyway was in 2006, and the orbiting body then was called 2006 RH120.
Yeah.
I think it should just be called 2006 Moon 1, 2006 Moon 2. The question I'm posing though, is it just a rock, or could it be an advanced alien species that's come to spy on us?
No, there's there's 1,000,001 chance of anything coming from Mars.
Yeah,
but still
they come. Exactly. Yeah. One of the endearing things about the 80s, I remember sitting with my dad. My dad loved to watch Only Fools and Horses, and it was great TV. It was brilliant TV, but all good things come to an end. And after that, of course, Del Boy, David Jason has gone on to do a lot of other things. Nicholas Lyndhurst, you don't hear him very much these days.
Well, he was in that thing with Dervla Kirwan.
And that's what brings me on to this week's topic. Yes, he was in Good Night Sweetheart.
That's the one, yes.
That was about a chap. I can't remember his profession, but it was around the 90s. Was it maybe mid-90s, late 90s?
Yeah.
He would
he ran like an antique shop, didn't he?
Oh, right. So, was it? Yeah.
It was like full of World War II memorabilia.
Right. He would go off and walk down a street, and he would go down an alleyway, and suddenly he'd be in 1940s. Was it London? I think it was.
Yeah, it was like the East End of London, circa the Blitz.
Yes. Good Night, Sweetheart.
Yeah.
The show was called, and that brings us on to today's topic, which is
Timeslips.
Timeslips. Right? Tell us all about Timeslips then.
Well, originally I thought, whenever we started the podcast, I thought, is there going to be enough material? Oh, stress and all the rest of it.
Don't panic.
And then I thought, well, hang on, we'll look into, think of a few ideas. And then
Yeah.
a mate of mine suggested, well, why don't you try Timeslips? And I was like, sounds a bit daft. Will there be much about it? But I looked into it, and it's a vast topic.
Ooh.
A vast topic.
Vast topic.
And it's so vast, in the format of this short podcast, I decided, well, we're not even going to scrape the surface here. It's so vast. So we'll focus on a particular phenomenon in Liverpool.
Liverpool seems to be a hotbed of this, and Good Night, Sweetheart, his mate was the Scouse.
Well, this is it.
So yeah,
maybe
there's some reason to that. Or maybe
yeah.
it's just casting.
Shout out to my main man Thomas Sheridan again.
Yeah,
from the lad from Ballymun, because he did a fantastic series on YouTube called Beyond Room 313.
right.
And one of his little episodes was about the Timeslips of Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a particular area in Liverpool, it's called Bold Street.
Yeah.
Now, it's now a very kind of fashionable place. There's lots of little coffee shops and we kind of shopping precinct.
The kind of place that we'd all hang out, isn't it? You know,
yeah,
it's kind of place you'd expect to see Andy and Leon.
I mean, I've looked it up. It's kind of like it's a bit like sort of Victoria Square in Belfast, that sort of area, Corn Market, only maybe a bit nicer.
So there's an Apple shop.
Yeah, it's that sort of a place.
Yeah,
but it's notorious for time slips.
Right.
Why? Of differing kind. Now, well, you can almost break them down into different types, because the main one is where people from the present day go back in time.
Yeah.
I'll have a look at a few ones very quickly here. In the 1980s, there's a woman that was eating lunch in one of the cafes in the area. Lovely sunny day, but suddenly,
yeah,
it went dark. Like, it went from a blazing kind of summer day to really dark. It was a real kind of overcast day in November.
So it's the 1980s. So sitting there eating chicken in a basket,
or I don't know, a cheese sandwich or something. What did people eat? Did people eat in the 80s?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Findus crispy pancakes and stuff like
that.
She looked outside and the throngs of shoppers disappeared.
Ooh.
So one minute you got
closing?
people with big hair and denim jackets and all the rest of it, ripped jeans,
ghetto blasters.
They all disappeared, and there's only a few people about in 1950s style clothing. The old teddy boy walking about.
Yeah.
She was very surprised, and because she was looking out the window when this happened, and she was like, "Oh, what's going on here?" And she turned round into the cafe, but the interior of the restaurant had changed.
Right, so it was still a cafe, all right.
But it was all old-fashioned.
Yeah.
And
all you could buy was Spam.
And sitting next to her was a dapper gentleman in a 1950s style vintage suit. Rather like Mark Lamar, if you can imagine such a thing.
I wonder, did he sit down and say, the tulips are blooming in Gdansk?
Yeah, it's very much a sort of almost like a D-mob sort of kind of thing.
Yeah.
The man struck up a conversation with her, and as they talked, she looked back to the street briefly. And when she looked back towards the curious man she'd just been talking to, he was gone, and the restaurant was back to normal again. She looked outside. It's a lovely sunny day in the 80s.
Everything's back to normal. So when it went to the 50s, did it all kind of go black and white then?
No, because that would be stupid.
Okay.
Because it wasn't like black and white back in the day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they didn't all walk really, really quickly.
I'll tell you what, somebody wanna.
Yeah. 1986, again in Bold Street, an off-duty policeman.
Mm-hmm.
He was out with his wife on a Saturday afternoon. Frank, you call him. Now, Frank and his wife split up to save a bit of time. They wanted to go to different things. Carol went to Dillon's. Do you remember Dillon's?
Oh yes, was that a bookshop, wasn't it? It was an Irish bookshop, wasn't it? Yeah,
I
it was
think so.
Irish
Yeah, it was
chain.
one of these kind of chain places. And Frank went to a local record store.
Do you remember those records? It was HMV.
I was gonna say, like, yeah.
Remember getting your pocket money and you'd go down to HMV, buy the latest.
I was once
Britpop
reprimanded for wasting pocket money in a Depeche Mode album, but it's another story. A small 1950s box van crossed in front of Frank, honking its horn in the progress. He didn't think anything of it. The van's livery stated it was from Kaplan's. He looked down to his feet and realised he was stood in the middle of the road. Now, Frank crossed the road and saw that the Dillon's bookstore had a Crips signage over its entrances, and moreover, the shop was selling women's handbags and shoes rather than books. Then he looked round the street and he realised that the people were dressed in 1940s fashion. But this is a weird thing. A young woman in her 20s walked past him in modern dress with a popular brand named handbag of the 90s.
So some of it was, what, 50s, I was saying, and then some of it was
1996.
Right.
He smiled at the girls he walked past and entered Crips.
I bet he did.
I would have been, never mind, smiling at random dolly birds. Can you call them dolly birds? It's probably
no, I don't think you can. This is International Women's Day, for goodness sake.
I would have been more distracted by the strange stuff that was going on. Anyway, he followed her into the store. The interior of the building changed in a flash back to Dillon's circa 1996. Frank questioned the young woman who had entered with him into Crips. She confirmed that she too thought the shop was a clothes shop rather than a bookshop. So she and this random woman, he didn't know, they were both from 1996, and they both kind of stumbled back into this time slip, and then got in the shop and then got back to 1996. Now there's a guy, this is all based not on my
I like the story about the shoplifter. If you got that one, where
we
where
do
he
have
was
that one.
running
Is that
away from the security.
Sean the shoplifter?
Sean the shoplifter. Yes.
Yeah. Now that's
you can believe what he says.
There's a book by Tom Slaman, I think his name is, Sleman, Haunted Liverpool, and it's like a whole. There's like, I think that's like Haunted Liverpool 24. He's running all this stuff. By the way, there's another centre of Timeslips in the world.
The world. It's all Liverpool.
Randomly as well. I don't know what that's all about. But yeah.
We'll come back to that. But do you have information about the shoplifter there? Because he was running away from a security guard,
Yeah, this is young Sean, a retrobit. He was doing a spot of shoplifting in Liverpool. He's a scally at ice in 2006. Now, he ran away from a security guard and headed down Hanover Street, trying to shake off the guard.
The busies
at ice, at ice. Sean Knight, sorry, this is too many years watching Brookside. Bad rookie. Sean 19 turned into a dead end street called Brooks Alley. By this time he was out of breath and started to get a tight sensation in his chest. He soon realised it wasn't actually a problem with him, but with the atmosphere. He waited for the security guard to come round the corner after him, but he didn't appear, so he thought, right, sorted. The guard, he's given the guard a slip. Now he sauntered back out and started to walk down Hanover Street again, but then he realised it was all wrong.
Yeah.
It was all wrong. The road looked very different.
Right.
And so the pavement, he noticed cars driving by that looked very old fashioned, and the roadworks had disappeared.
Yeah.
He noticed that the people around him were wearing strange clothes. You see, this account makes me think it is realistic, because at the risk of stereotyping, like a 19-year-old scally isn't going to be kind of instantly think, oh, that's 1940s fashion.
Yes.
He's just going to think, they're not wearing tracky bees.
Yeah.
You know, he's going to think it's strange clothes. Like, so it's a bit of kind of realism that way. Like,
yeah.
He crossed over to Bold Street. He noticed that there are traffic lights where they weren't before, and bushes growing around the Lyceum near a bar that he did recognise. He carried on walking, and he had this sense of dread. He realised that somehow he'd travelled back in time, and he couldn't get out of the time slip. Then he remembered his mobile, took it out of his pocket, tried to get a signal, no signal, because he's back in whenever it was.
Yeah.
Before, there's no cells. Do you know what I mean?
Tower.
Do you know what I mean? So
triangulate the cell.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He began to panic. Now, he went to the stand. He then took a look at the front page of the Daily Post, which I assume is a local paper in Liverpool. There in bold lettering was the date. 18th of May 1967.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And he was like, oh, what am I going to do? So he went up to H. Samuels, the jailers, and tried his phone once again. This time it worked. He sighed with relief. He looked round and realised he had returned to the present.
Alright, so he's back on again.
But then he looked down the road, and the road looked like it was 1960s. So it's like he could stand at one time and look into another. So he'd had enough, so he went and got a bus to go home. Then he was then interviewed by the local paper.
He doesn't have any guilt at all about doing a shoplifting.
If I was him, I wouldn't be going to the paper and saying, "Oh, I was doing a bit of shoplifting," and that's happened, you know. When the security, I'm assuming he was maybe arrested at some point. Because the security guard was then interviewed, and he said that when he ran after Sean and turned down the dead end alley after him, he said that Sean had completely disappeared.
Right.
When the local paper, I think it was the Liverpool Echo.
Oh, it would be.
When the Liverpool Echo checked out the facts of Sean's story, they found everything he said was historically accurate. And it leads me to kind of think it probably was right, because, like, I mean, without wanting to stereotype, like, a 19-year-old Skelly who's out shoplifting is probably not going to be
a reliable witness,
a keen student of history.
Yeah.
So,
okay,
you know what I mean? So it almost makes it more believable in a weird kind of way, you know?
So, okay, this is all happening around Liverpool. Is there any explanation as to why it's going on around Scousland?
This guy, Tom Sleman, thinks that he's got a few ideas. Now, there's one theory is the fact that Bold Street lies atop large deposits of sandstone and quartz,
right? Okay.
Which he thinks is creating. I don't know if this is true or not. I'm not a scientist. It could be nonsense. It could be creating. It sounds like something from Back to the Future. It could be creating a magnetic field that could mess with perceptions or cause some sort of rift. Any scientists listening to the podcast, please get in touch. I have no idea if that would actually happen or not.
Yeah, podcast at weirdlyenough.com. If you want to get in touch with us, you can get in touch on the socials as well.
Another idea is that the high voltage rails for the Liverpool subway system just happened to form a tight circle in the area of Bold Street, which could be causing some portal effect.
Well, in like railway lines.
It sounds a bit like, do you know, say to be honest, what was that show where your man Sam travelled back into the past to fix what
Quantum Leap?
That's the way. It sounds a bit like that kind of level of science, you know, which isn't really science like, but but it's all right in this area. Now, it's not just people going to. Do we have time to talk a bit more about this?
Of course we do. Yes.
Yeah, because it's actually a very interesting topic. There was in his book Haunted Liverpool 24, I think it is, Haunted Liverpool 24. He recounts the tale of a young guy. He was a student in a Liverpool university in the late night. There seems to have been a lot going on in the 90s as well.
Yeah, it was a hip and happening time.
Yeah, I don't know if people were sort of coming down or coming up on drugs or whatever. Maybe influencing the way, but like, but it was the late 90s. Britpop was kicking off. It was all very hedonistic. Yeah, and there was a young Oasis fan studying at a university in Liverpool.
Okay,
and for several weeks he suffered from severe nosebleeds. And he was going to go to his GP, so he was heading down to the doctor, but he was going through Bond Street. He was maybe going to the shops or whatever. Maybe he was going to Don's, I don't know. But heading down Bond Street, and again he suddenly felt really faint, and like he was going to pass out, and he spitting on. And he was like, "Oh, I need to go to the doctor." And what's happening? Like, maybe it's my blood pressure or whatever, you know. But suddenly everything sort of sorted itself out. Everything's grand, so he's walking down. Everything's normal.
Yeah.
And I mean totally normal.
Okay.
And until he was walking past like a newspaper seller, and he saw devastating news. Liam Gallagher died in a pub fight.
Right.
The previous night.
Yeah.
So he was really upset about this. So he's heading down the street. He thinks, well, I'll not go to the doctor because I don't feel too bad. And then he meets his mate in the street, and he's like, "All right, mate." And his mate blanks him.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, you know."
Doesn't know him.
His mate didn't know him, or his mate had a different name.
Okay. So maybe he'd slipped into like a parallel universe. Is that
the
idea?
Is it. Now, he was in this parallel universe for several months.
Yes.
He actually ended up getting like a wee job and all.
Right.
And he got like
what did he do?
I don't know. It's just worked maybe done a bit of photocopying or whatever. I don't know, but everything was normal apart from the fact none of his mates knew him.
Yeah.
I don't know about his family. I don't know if he contacted them or not. But everything was completely normal apart from this was like a parallel universe where Liam Gallagher was dead, which he found very upsetting because it meant that Oasis split up.
Yeah.
So you're almost kind of into alternate history kind of territory. But then suddenly one day he got another nosebleed. And he popped back into the original timeline.
And Liam was alive again.
And it was a bit of a mixed bag. So on the one hand, he was kind of relieved because Liam was alive and Oasis were still on the go. But the only thing is, he found he actually preferred his new mates.
Right, he wants to go back to them. Could he find them? I think they didn't know him, but could he see his new mates? No. Or did they just disappear?
They just disappeared. They couldn't get a hold of them.
Yeah.
But like he popped back to the same day that he'd left, so nobody had sort of missed him. If you know what I mean, they didn't realise he'd been away.
Crazy. Do anybody ever slip into the future? So it's all about slipping into the past or slipping into alternative things. Have there been any recounts where they might be slipping into the future?
Well, there is the case of a traffic policeman in the 1950s that was directing traffic one very foggy night and saw a strange tank go past.
Right.
And it was like giant, and it was accompanied by a big robot. And that's also recounted in the Haunted Liverpool books. Yeah. But the ones where people sort of pop in from the future they're more unusual. It tends to be people more sort of going into the past.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, and Bold Street's very common, and people always seem to pop back to the 40s, the 50s, and 60s.
Mm-hmm.
That seems to be the big one. Apart from the Asian student guy, who, by the way, I should have said he was an Indian guy resident in Britain at the time.
Yeah.
But he was the only one to kind of pop sideways into like an alternative present.
Yes.
An alternative sort of late 90s.
Strange.
Interesting.
Yeah. I forgot what I was going to say now. I was going to ask something else, but no.
Well, we were talking about this because we're trying to get a bit more spontaneous in the old podcast. Sorry, I just bashed into the mic there. A bit more spontaneous. So I was thinking, and it was suggested that rather than sort of maybe get a bit more personal.
Where would you want to slip back
and
to?
It's like, well, where would you want to go to, Andrew, if you could get a time slip? You know, not permanently, because that would be a bit messed up, but, you know, maybe even as a holiday, maybe for a week, if you guarantee you come back, just as like maybe a few days, like.
To be honest, this is the thing about holidays. Anyway, you see, if you go away, I'm going into a bit of a Carl Pilkington rant.
Yeah.
But like, I've got satellite TV, I've got PlayStation. If you go away, you stay in a hotel.
Yeah.
You don't have that, and you're paying £4 for a beer.
Yeah. Well, one thing that's pitting me off holidays.
So I just like being here. Yeah.
It's. I'm sorry to bring it up yet again, but the coronavirus. It's like all these, you know, like these kind of baby boomers, and they're all time rich and cash rich, and you know all the rest of it. So they're all going on these cruises and endless trips, and they're all getting quarantined. Like there's a whole boat full of like British pensioners that's been quarantined in America.
Yeah.
And it's really grim because like one of them was been on read this morning, and it's just like, oh, it's okay, we get out of our cabin like every few days.
Be terrible.
Right, so you're in this tiny cabin.
Imagine having an internal cabin with no windows.
Yeah.
A lot of them are.
I wouldn't fancy that.
No, if I was going to slip anywhere, I think maybe the 1920s would be interesting to go back to.
What geographically? What place would you want to go to?
Like New York, London,
that'd be
something like that.
Yeah.
As a little footnote, and I'll not name the person, but a relative of mine tells this story.
Yeah.
She was on holidays in Port Stewart in Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
Very, very early one morning, took a dog a walk along the Strand, the big beach there. And everything was calm, everything was peaceful. And then she looked out to sea, and there's this ruckus on the sea, really rough, like a tsunami almost approaching. And worried by this, she looked back up the beach and she saw all these little men that she described as like almost Neanderthal.
Yeah.
Like little cavemen, short men, all come running down like with clubs and things towards what was happening at the sea.
Yeah.
And she swears this happened.
Could be.
Took to her heels, ran away, got to the end of the beach, got off the beach, didn't look back.
Yeah.
But that sounds like like an ultimate time slip.
Could have been a time slip back to the Stone Age.
And yeah, strange.
Could be, yeah.
We will leave it there. Thank you very much for listening, folks. We'll bring up the snippets, the little bits and pieces that we found around the place very, very soon. You can listen to us whatever device you have. If you have an Apple, search for us on Apple Podcasts. We're also on Google Podcasts as well. I don't know if that's geographically available everywhere, but search for Weirdly Enough on Google Podcasts. If you're in America, Australia, iHeartRadio app is really good for podcasts. Spotify, Twitcher, TuneIn, we're on those. We're on lots of other little podcast apps as well, or you can download us directly at our website, Weirdly Enough, www.weirdlyenough.com. For that, do leave a review if you like the show. We'll be back. Well, this sounds like an ending, and it's not, because I'm coming back with the snippets. But anyway, see you in a few. Yeah, well, you know what? Catering a wedding can always be a complicated and expensive affair, can't it?
It certainly can. I've got no experience of it, but I'm assuming it would be like.
See, at big shindigs like this, you never really get what you want to eat, do you? It's always. It's never like getting a big a la carte meal.
In my experience, desserts are always good.
Yeah.
If all else fails, there's always the dessert.
Always the dessert.
The
trolley.
dessert and the starter.
Yeah.
It's always the mains that can be problematic.
See, that's why I like tapas or tapas. Yeah. Because it's lots of little starters. Anyway, what would you really like to be eating at a wedding if you could choose anything? Imagine.
See, normally my favourite food would be steak and chips.
Yeah.
But again, that doesn't really work at a wedding, because weddings, it needs to be light but filling. And so, I think I was at a wedding and had those little tiny burgers.
Yes,
sliders. That's quite yeah. That's quite good. That's the sort of the direction you want to be going on.
What about fried chicken?
Yeah, yes, but not like KFC level fried chicken.
Oh dear.
Not something that's too greasy. Maybe a wee, but kind of.
You won't like this then. KFC in Australia have held a competition to give 6 lucky couples a complete KFC themed wedding.
Right, that's classy.
The first wedding is now taking place with guests of Kate and Harrison Cahn's wedding in Queensland, starting proceedings by throwing confetti from chicken buckets.
Oh, jeez.
All guests gorged on freshly fried chicken, followed by a KFC themed cake.
Right.
What can you imagine what a KFC themed cake would be?
Let me guess, is it chicken flavoured?
Chicken cake. I don't know, no. I think it was sweet, but anyway. They were even entertained by a Colonel Sanders wedding singer. So a guy came out, looked like Colonel Sanders, and sang to them. There's going to be 5 other of these weddings across Australia. The Cahn's won the competition by composing a rap extolling their love of fried chicken. So that's how they won.
Well, TBH, I'm more of a chicken licking man these days. But I still don't think it'd be a good idea to have a chicken licking themed wedding,
Apparently they had their first date at a KFC, so very, very romantic.
Keeping it classy.
And finally, scientists have solved a mystery that's baffled dog owners for centuries, perhaps. Why are their noses always cold? Researchers from Hungary and Sweden found that when the surrounding temperature was 30 degrees, a dog's nose will be 5 Celsius cooler, or centigrade, whatever way you want to say it. When the ambient temperature is freezing, the nose is about 8 degrees.
Yeah.
So the experiment by the scientists at Lund University and Eötvös Landvard University trained 3 dogs to identify identical objects that had been heated 12 degrees warmer than the ambient temperature. All the dogs could detect stimuli of weak thermal radiation, which was too weak to be felt by human hands. So you couldn't touch it and feel that there was a temperature difference, but the dogs' noses could detect it. The indication anyway that why dogs have this amazing sense is that they can detect heat sources from small animals. So when they're looking for food and when they're hunting, they can detect small animals from up to 5 feet away.
Really?
So they could detect something, go and grab it, and that's their dinner. a fried chicken, perhaps. Yes, thanks very much for joining us. Podcast at weirdlyenough.com is our email address. You can get in touch with us. We're on the socials. Search for Weirdly Enough Podcast on Facebook. We're Weirdly Enough PC on Twitter. We're also on Instagram, but we don't really use it at all. We should. I don't know. Tell me why we should use it. We're all over those podcast directories as well. Do subscribe. If you listen, leave us a review. It'd be very much appreciated. Thanks very much. There's so many people listening now. So many people getting in touch. It's great to hear from you. And onwards and upwards. See you next week.
Thanks for listening to Weirdly Enough. Remember to subscribe to get the latest edition as soon as it drops. And don't forget to leave a review. Email us about anything we've discussed or with your own weird tale at podcast@weirdlyenough.com.